Hello.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. We're so excited to welcome to Minnesota Strike's sixth and final game of the regular season. Today, we're going to see Minnesota Strike take on Raleigh Radiance. It's going to be a really exciting game here. Looks like the weather in Minnesota today is slight to no breeze, sunny, and 70 degrees. Sounds like a beautiful day to play some Ultimate. Yep, so my name is Amanda. I also go by Coffee in the Ultimate community. You take up.
I'm V, Via Senor. We're both coming to you live from Nebraska right now. Really excited for this game. Turn it over to Claire.
Spoiler alert, my name is Claire, and I am live from Kansas City, Kansas, and super pumped for this game as well, just like Coffee and V. I feel really grateful actually because I know a number of players on both of these teams, and I also know both of my co-commentators. So lots of friendship around and community, feeling all the ultimate vibes. And yeah, stoked for a good solid game. Weather's looking beautiful.
Absolutely. Just a little bit more about me. I play in the PUL for the Nashville Nightshade, and I'm also the PUL video editor. So I'm really excited to watch today's game and also just watch it for highlights that I can share on our Instagram later this week.
Get to be in front of the mic now, too.
I know,
not just behind
strange.
the editing there.
I had tried out for a PUL team once. That's the end of that story.
I have a very similar story, but excited to be on this side again, too.
Yeah, I think it's looking like it's going to be really solid. I wish we could see the crowd. Our stream is all facing away from the crowd, but I'm sure it's, Minnesota has a big ultimate community, so I'm sure they maybe not, pack every single game, but I think they have a pretty solid turnout every game. They've got a solid fan base up there, so I think there's probably some good energy out there on the field, and everyone's looking forward to it as much as we are.
Absolutely.
Looks like we're getting into the introductions right now. I'm sure the announcer is doing their thing and getting these players hyped and ready to go. And then I think we'll see the flip, or do we know if they've already flipped?
I don't believe they have yet. I think introductions first and then the flip. Captains and observers will all meet together after everyone's introduced, and there's a short announcement. They'll all meet and have their flip, and then we'll let you know the results of that.
Awesome. That sounds great. So what are you two looking for today? Most importantly, are you expecting some savvy offense? Are you expecting some big highlight plays? Are you expecting some lockdown person D? What do you think are we going to see?
Raleigh has such a fast-moving, fast-paced offense. I'm really excited to see Minnesota try to maneuver in that defensively, and I'm excited to see what they can do on defense against that Raleigh Radiance fast-paced offense is.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I'm pretty excited just to see some really good, clean ultimate. I think these are two teams that both have a lot of depth. They both have a lot of really talented players. Some that are big names that we all know about, and some that maybe we don't know as much, but they're going to really shine through. And I'm just really excited to see how that plays out.
I totally agree with you too. I am super pumped to see a lot of what these two teams can bring. Particularly, Coffee, I agree. Raleigh is going to have some very fast O. I think Phoenix, as well as Pleiades, the women's college national champions run a lot of the same sets. Their triangle ultimate is very overdeveloped in really small spaces, like mini and like quick dinks and short passes like that. And that's where they can be incredibly dangerous. So we'll see if Strike can play some tight D in those spaces and force some turns and maybe take Radiance out of their comfort zone a little bit.
All right, just a quick primer on the rules for the Premier Ultimate League as we welcome you to Minnesota Strike's inaugural season. So the objective of Ultimate, of course, is to move the disc downfield with the goal of catching the disc in the end zone for the score. You see it's played on a football field. It has end zones, just like you see in football. The end zone size is a little bit different. The PUL fields are actually 80 field. The playing field is 80 yards long, and then with 20 yards deep in each end zone, and it is 40 yards wide. There are 4 12-minute quarters. The first 3 quarters, when the buzzer or when the time reaches 0, the team that currently has possession of the disc will just finish that possession, whether that results in a score or if there's a turnover or a block, whatever the result of that in possession is. That's how the quarter ends. And then in our 4th and final quarter, it is a buzzer beater. So if the clock reaches 0 and the disc is in the air, the final play is what happens at the other side of that disc. Players can't run with the disc, but we can pass the disc in any and all directions. It is a self-officiated, non-contact sport. Sometimes there is a little bit of incidental contact, but generally you cannot pick or other more aggressive contact that you see in some other sports. Sometimes there's incidental contact between players, and then it is self-officiated with observers. The observers can make a ruling on the play after a player pulls one of the observers in for that discussion.
Awesome.
Right.
Thanks for that rundown, Coffee. Looks like you covered all of the basics, although I would be surprised if anybody watching this stream has never seen Ultimate before. I feel like it's probably people that have been watching it for as long as we have, but super stoked to have more access to particularly women in Ultimate, and as well as, just getting our game more airtime.
And it looks like Strike will be receiving, and our first poll is going to go off in 3 minutes.
Awesome. The PUL's opening poll is sponsored by Discraft, which is the official sponsor of Minnesota Strike, as well as the Premier Ultimate League as a whole. Who doesn't love a good Discraft disc, right, girls? Can I get an amen for Discraft?
Amen for Discraft. It looks like we have 2 observers for this game. We have Jacob Salzman and Mike Merles-Merwin. They'll be making active calls of in and out of bounds, the disc being up or down, player is in or out of the end zone, any offsides calls, and delay of the game. You'll also notice on our stream, players and observers will be using hand signals from the World Flying Disc Federation. So we'll help teach you throughout the game when those come up.
Yeah, the hand signals are just a real game changer. They're super helpful, especially like I was saying, as our sport is getting more visualization, but even as someone on the field sometimes, I'm sure you guys can attest as well. It's just really helpful if you're far away from the play or on the sideline or whatever. The hand signals are just a game changer.
They really are. I think the first time I've seen hand signals, it started I think with WIFDF, with the World Flying Disc Federation, and then has just made a huge impact in all of the other divisions of our game.
Completely agreed. I'm just checking in with you two. Do you see anything in the chat? Is mine not turned on, or has no one started on the chat yet?
Nope, I don't see anything in there yet either.
Yeah, so if you are watching today's game, feel free to jump on the chat in YouTube, and then you can also tweet at us. Oh, it looks like our opening poll is going up. Minnesota is receiving.
We were ready to stall for a little longer, and then bam, here's the poll.
A lot of quick movement here from Minnesota. Oh, and a deep
Look at my friend Courtney Walby taking a quick deep look there. Easily D'd, though. Almost too casually D'd.
Radiance picking up the disc at the front of their end zone.
Yeah, already starting off with that quick pace that we anticipated from Radiance, but Strike really showing it on their own.
A quick handler movement. Swinging across. Good pass up the line by Radiance. Captain, another quick pass at about the 50-yard line. Another one up that same
really
sideline.
They're working that sideline.
Hit the easy under.
They definitely have good spacing here. We're seeing them fall into a little bit more of kind of a standard end zone set, it seems like. Two handlers out and vertical stack, and then the one in the stack and the handlers are both doing a lot of the heavy lifting, it seems like. Oh, I didn't realize they were still quite a bit away from the end zone, but Radiant's able to punch that in.
Starting off the game with a break for Raleigh.
We didn't do our job of looking at the sister and the scorer. We'll get better at that. Don't worry, all. So that is 1-0 for Raleigh, starting off with a break, as V said, and it's looking like they are not intimidated by this away game being out of their hometown. They are just ready to go. Okay, so getting a nice replay here. Looks like number 6 to... Okay, to 93. Should we cross-reference to our rosters?
I think
Michelle Landis.
Yes, Wadel Landis for that score.
Well, guess my co-commentators already know. Love that. I see it now. It was Jenny Way to Landis.
Radiance with a big
All right,
pull
let's
there.
see.
Get started again. We might be behind, but they are on top of things.
Absolutely. They are ready to go. Strike looking to get their first hold here.
Good handler motion across the field, swinging it around.
Definitely some nice spacing, good lateral control. Probably looking to get it to the downfield cutters, maybe a little bit more here. Really chunk up some yards. Big hook goes up, but unfortunately, no receiver there. And another easy D for Radiance.
Will give go from the handlers. A nice switch on defense.
Yeah, Tyler Smith, they really enjoy that quick dish behind and then a quick strike up the field to get the disc over to the break side.
That's up for the score.
I did recognize Sarah Mextroth's throwing form there, so I know that she had the assist. Another quick break there for Radiance. They are really showing exactly what we expected. Some quick offensive movement, big gainers underneath, as well as some quick handler motion that is getting Strike a little bit on their heels. We'll see if they can punch right back here. Just a nice space throw from Mextroth there.
It's like Ashley Powell with the score there.
Awesome. Yeah, Powell had definitely a lot of space already, and Mextroth just put it far enough out to make sure that she was the only one that could attack onto that. So nice trust there. All right, let's see if Strike can get back on track here. Starting with the vertical set. Looks like maybe an initiating pole play. I think that is Sims with the disc there. Very dynamic player. Nice easy underneath. Sims again. Looking for an under. It looks like Radiance is maybe forcing into the stack, which is kind of throwing off Strike's offense a little bit. We get a deep look here. Oh, John Colton, I think, again, if I'm recognizing them correctly, was in that deep space, ready to eat up that throw.
A big huck up for Radiance.
Whoa.
A beautiful diving grab. Wow. Looks like that was Dawn Colton again.
That was, yeah, definitely.
Beautiful.
She is doing her part for this team. Nice easy around for bookends for Colton. What a point for her. The D to the big layout grab to the score. Impressive.
That was some really nice quick movement there from Radiance near the end zone.
This is so fun because I thought I just had to check the roster real quick, but number 5 I confirmed is Jesse Jones, who's a really long time both Phoenix, the club team, and just Raleigh player in general. She coaches the UNC Pleiades women's team, and so now she gets to play with some of her players on this Radiance team. That would be really fun, don't you guys think?
Absolutely. I think that just speaks to the depth of Triangle Ultimate again. It's very well developed in that part of the country.
Completely. Just top to bottom, youth to club, they've really got everything really ingrained there. It'd be tough to leave, Why would you want to go play for somewhere else and you've got all your main homies right there, people that you've been playing with since a really young age and on all different levels. So
Yeah. Scores
so
3-0.
What do we need to see from Strike here? What's happening with their offense?
I've seen several forced deep throws that have resulted in turnovers, and I think maybe just some more patience with the disc and finding some of those unders. I think that, as you pointed out earlier, Claire, Raleigh's forcing that defensively, so it makes it a lot harder. But can't wait to see Strike make those adjustments and get on the board here.
Absolutely agreed. Yeah, I think the unders are going to be where they're really going to be able to make some big strides because, as we've talked about, Radiance is just so threatening in that deep space. And I think you're right, Coffee. All of their turns have been hucks besides just this most recent one here. So let's see if they can get it back.
Some great defense on the handle there.
Strike defense forcing them to make a difficult throw into the middle of the field.
Their unders are
Gerhard.
just so crisp.
Oh,
Good movement from Radiance, swinging back to the middle.
oh.
Steph Rupp, yeah!
There.
Hey,
Big
girl!
D.
I
Big
have to
hand
show
lock
a
for
little
Strike
bit of
here.
bias.
Oh,
Just
looks like
one
there's
of
a
my,
call on the field.
yes. Yeah, I think there was just a pick. I saw the hand motion for what looked like a pick, but I'm not sure there. So Steph Rupp and Courtney Walby getting some handler reps together. Two, as Coffee and I know, long-term Wicket players and just Kansas City Ultimate players. They definitely have a lot of chemistry, know how to work together. So we're seeing Strike get into their end zone, which is great.
Really nice handler movement. Lots of quick throws from Strike here.
Using the width of the field really well.
Yeah, that's really making
Nice
that
inside
difference.
flare.
Hey,
This is Courtney Walby
beautiful.
for.
Well, you took the easy one, Coffee. Who threw
I
it?
sure did.
I think it was it Rachel Johnson? Looked like number 11, maybe?
Your guess is as good as mine, Claire.
We'll find out on the replay here.
We'll get zoomed in here.
I'm pretty
Beautiful.
sure because,
I think you're right.
because Rachel has been really commanding their offensive line. She has a lot of just kind of slightly out of her box catches, and it looks like she's really important for that offense. So I think we'll probably be seeing more of her as Strike gets back in this game, hopefully, right?
That was really great movement from Strike there. Beautiful way to finish off that point. Scores 3-1 Radiance right now. After that,
Yeah, Strike getting on the board, we'll take it. So it's a beautiful inside, pretty far, to be honest, for an inside out flick there. But Johnson just stepped out, threw low, obviously knew the conditions well enough to make a perfect pass right to the chest of her receiver.
nice grab there.
Yeah, looks like Strike is falling into maybe a bit of a zone here. Maybe now it's person, and it was just to stop the initial set play. Let's see how they transition here. Little upline there, and see, are they going to be able to finish it off? Oh, they did.
Peasley with the assist there. Couldn't quite tell who caught it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, that seems right, yes. Well, the number I thought it was, I looked on the roster and that number was not on there, so I knew that was wrong. Yeah, Jenny Way is, I believe, coming back from an ACL tear, if I remember, but I certainly don't see her looking even half a step behind. She looks just as dominant as she has been for years, so impressive. Looks like Radiance is really totally fine with attacking just that front cone. They're not doing anything particularly special, not huge breakthrows or big bendy arounds or anything like that. They're just playing, pretty solid, work it up offense, and it's panning out well for them. They have a 4-1 lead now.
Yeah, Radiant's really taking advantage of those unders that they're getting. Let's see if Strike can do the same as they attack the other way.
Oh.
Nice grab by Byers.
Yes, definitely. I was just going to say that. Took the words right out of my mouth. Same wavelength. Always have been.
Ever since the 45 minutes ago that I met you.
Exactly. Been saying it for always. Here we have Steph Rupp in a bit of a
stall
tough
was called.
spot, but she's... Ah, okay, gotcha. So I was looking there. Seemed like she was at a high count. Thought she got it off.
I think that was
See.
Stan Lind on the mark there.
They're discussing it. Went to the observer. Looks like the observer is maybe ruling it is a stall, resulting in a turnover
Okay.
right here. Radiance,
Yeah.
Radiance will take over on offense.
Stifling mark there for sure, and just overall defense. Didn't look like Rupp had too many options. Raleigh was just really clamped down there. So let's see if Strike can get one back.
Continuing to move it up that line.
And inbounds
They're
there.
best friends with that line, aren't they?
Just made it the whole length of the field from the pickup there on that close line to us, at least from the camera angle.
Absolutely. I mean, they say always change a losing game plan, never change a winning one. So Raleigh's had some obvious success working it up that line. So seems like unless Strike approaches their defense a little bit differently, then they're going to keep doing what's been working, right?
Mm-hmm. Looks like on that one, that was Zerzinski to... We don't know who caught that, but with it makes...
I feel so bad. I want to know. Like, I wish I just knew right away and I could just say it like a, an NBA star or whatever, like where I was just like, bam, bam, bam. But I want to give them the credit. I just can't find it fast enough.
Zoomed out just a little too much to see it fast enough, I think. Radiance was a good
We've
pull.
got a few bit of activity in the chat now. I'm not sure if you guys have seen that, but that's nice. Like to see the audience engaging.
Speaking of which, if anybody has any questions for us as the commentators, feel free to tweet at the Premier Ultimate League. The Twitter handle is at Premier Ultimate.
Strike has worked it up. Good way, about 75% up the field. Oh, and a bidding.
Oh my God.
Is that Dawn again?
It is. What can you do about that? How do you play differently when you have someone like that on the field?
A big huck up.
Oh.
What's going to happen? Whoa.
Tight D there.
Okay. Very tight D. No call. I wasn't sure if there was going to be. The hook was just kind of pushed a little bit to the end zone. Maybe the offender didn't have quite the play that they would have wanted to have on it because they also had to worry about that back line.
The Strike player has great closing speed there. The disc was floating on.
A nice grab.
Definitely. I stand corrected. Jenny Way is coming back from an Achilles tear, not an ACL tear. Thank you to the chat for that.
Raleigh getting possession back on a little miscue from Strike. Working it back up the field. A great run.
What a pretty around to that space there. Oh, and a high release. Oh, wow. I did not know if that was going to work. And
the observer calls it in.
Jesse Jones with the score there.
Yeah, good awareness by the receiver, Jones, there to just watch that sideline, make sure she was, 1 foot in, good to go, and they're able to steal another break. So Raleigh up to a decisive 6-1 lead in this first quarter.
A lot of really good reads on that disc there. Some spicy throws. People had to catch up in some small spaces, and they were really able to do that.
Absolutely. Landis to Jones there. We were able to see those two, so. I'm feeling optimistic as the game goes on that we'll get to know the players, even just in these 4 12-minute quarters and stuff, and be able to make some of those name associations a little bit quicker.
Pull going up from Radiance. Strike looking to move it as much as they can before Radiance sets up their defense.
They have been doing an excellent job of gaining and maximizing the amount of yards they get right off the pole. There's no hesitation. They're immediately gaining 10, 20 yards right off the pole before that defense gets down there.
Really great tactic and certainly important, before the defense is set up, you want to take as many yards as you can. Oh my God, I thought that was golden again, but I
out
don't
of
think
nowhere.
It looks like maybe a timeout was called. With the Premier Ultimate League rules, you are allowed to substitute an entire line out on during a timeout call. So I wonder, after getting that block there and becoming the offensive team, if the Radiance will sub in their O-line.
Good call, Coffee. I wasn't sure what the rule on that was, actually. I have a little bit more experience with AUDL rules, and so I know there's some nuances that are a little bit different, but that sounds like that's one of the ones that's the same, which I really love that rule. I think it's good implementation, good progress for our sport, because there's so many times we've all played on just those deathly long points, where you just simply don't have anything left to give and they're just a real grinder. It's very relieving, I'm sure, to be able to sub out and get some fresh legs out there and just kind of use it as a reset point.
Absolutely. Oh, some tight defense there by Minnesota Strike bidding. Not quite catching the block though. Oh, but then the pressure was still there, and it was a short drop there from Radiance. Minnesota has a disc again.
Yeah, sometimes just that pressure is all you need. It doesn't always result in an exact block, but, kind of makes the offense think half second longer or second longer, and then they're able to, kind of force a turn indirectly in the sense.
Yeah, and that is the conclusion of our first quarter. Radiance leading 6-1 over Minnesota.
Great first half. Honestly, first quarter, a lot of high quality play. Some unfortunate turns from Strike, but nonetheless, I think they're going to jump right back, and still a lot of good stuff from both sides of the disc and both teams. Oh, my friends. Hello, you two.
Hi.
I was just thinking about how in the studio it's a little bit weird not being able to see you. I was ready for a rat-tat-tat, where I could play off your reactions.
Just got to guess based on what we're saying and how we're saying it.
Exactly. I think, we've known each other a long time, V. I think I can pull that together now.
I mean, we're pushing over an hour at this point, so I think we're doing really
exactly.
great. We can thank Coffee, though, who's like the crux of this trio here. She's our connection.
Oh yeah, she's always my crux, just in life. So I've been thanking her for years.
Well, I'm just happy to be the glue.
Exactly. So we've let's see if we want to use some of our shout outs here. I know we have a lot of ultimate companies that deserve some shout outs. I see here that VC is the exclusive official uniform sponsor for Strike and the entire PUL. All of the PUL teams have their own custom merchandise stores on the VC website, so you can visit vcultimate.com to get official Strike jerseys, hats, and more, and perhaps even some for other teams.
Yeah, the Minnesota Strike jerseys, I think, are very just high quality. I
Those
might be
are
a
so
little bit
cool.
biased here because our good friend Steph Rupp, I believe, designed them. But in the grand scheme of the league, I think they are truly some excellent jerseys.
Oh yeah, the Minnesota Darks are, in my opinion, some of the best. Not that, I mean, all of them are great, but this is one extra step up.
I completely agree. I love the color scheme. I actually just gave Steph Rupp's fiance a little bracelet that I had on my wrist. And he was like, "Oh, hey, look! It turns out to be Strike colors," because I know he loves the the color scheme as well. It's really solid. The popping blue and the gold, and then black just kind of as that neutral. Wow, look at that, D. Who cares about colors?
A great diving block there for Minnesota. And it looks like a foul was called.
Yeah, Minnesota really that seemed legit. Absolutely. Kind of seemed like a strip, maybe, right? Like it seemed like maybe the Strike player had already caught it.
Yep, and the observers looks like upholding the foul call.
Okay.
Minnesota came out strong there at the beginning of the quarter.
Really exciting. Yeah, absolutely. They were rearing.
A little bit of a miscue, but that defense there is definitely their big strength. They've gotten a few turns already and going to look to do it again.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, those miscues are kind of bound to happen when there's just a fairly large roster. And these teams, you know, don't forget, have only played less than 10 games each, you know, and a lot of these people have literally never played together before that. So, you know, I would personally expect some miscues and some, oops, I thought you were doing this, you know, kind of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a short stoppage of play here while there's a pick called. It looks like they're just figuring out their positioning.
Yeah, I didn't see the pick call myself, but I did see the hand signal for it. So yeah, I'm sure most of our audience knows, but picks are not legal in Ultimate as they are in basketball, for example. You can use them as a defensive strategy or offensive strategy in basketball, but not legal in Ultimate. So if someone gets in your way of getting to the disc or to your person, you call a pick. So that's what we saw there.
Nice break throw.
Radiance. Yeah, they're really just attacking that break side with some nice rounds, aren't they?
Mm-hmm. Just a little bit too far, just out of reach there in the end zone. Strike's going to get it back. Another opportunity to score.
Yeah, we were just talking about their flick around throws and how dangerous they'd been with them. And then that one, we just I jinxed him a little bit. It seemed like maybe the thrower just took a, you know, half second less to think about that than she would have originally. So.
Looked like that was a high stall count throw there. Looking, I think, to go a little deeper and came off really hot. One of the closer players.
Yeah, looks like Radiance just very calmly just stepped out and threw out into that space for the receiver to just run onto it. It's very calm, quick offense.
Yes, they're very composed. It's admirable. They don't seem too rattled by much lately. So they've been punching in, you know, their scores right outside the end zone or even from, you know, way back, and they're showing what they've got, no doubt. They are a force to be reckoned with here.
think Audrey Lehman was with the grab there. Do not
Okay.
know who throw. Did not see the back of the jersey at all. For those watching, that is how we are currently figuring out who is who on the field. Jersey numbers and occasionally, as Claire mentioned earlier, some very particular throwing styles or things like that. And we're still hoping to learn, but we'll get there eventually.
Absolutely. Yeah, the whites are just a little bit tough to see just from the sun, hitting right on them. Sometimes those jersey numbers aren't quite as glaringly obvious as we would like, but, we make do. Obviously, everyone on Radiance is a talented player, so, I'm sure they don't care too much about who gets the credit.
Great inside out backhand there.
Strike was really moving the disc there well across the whole field, using a lot of their space very nicely. Up until
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
drop.
I was just going to say I was feeling impressed with how they were looking, but maybe strike seems just a touch rushed. Does it seem that way to you guys?
Yes, I'd agree. Or yes, I think that there have been a few times just in the last couple of points. Oh, great throw there from Tyler Smith and
Colton coming down with it.
Yeah, who else is going to be on the end of that?
That looks like Claire Mextroth with the score.
Yeah, I do know. Did recognize that gate as well. Maybe
Looks like
was it Jay?
Drzinski with the assists. That's what I
Okay. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, Raleigh now up to a 8-1 lead here. It looked like the strike player Wood had an opportunity at maybe being able to get that D, but it was coming in almost at a better angle for Colton. Wood had to kind of stop and jump flat-footed straight up and just run onto it a little bit better. I know I prefer those types of catches when I can kind of gather myself as I go up, as opposed to, okay, let me totally break down and decelerate here and then try to go flat-footed up. That can be a little bit awkward timing-wise. All right, let's see here. I'm gonna put some energy out there for strike to get a few more on the board here. Absolutely fine with any type of play, but who doesn't love a close game, right? So let's see what strike can do to attack here.
Big
It sounds like they heard you.
Wow!
Oh, amazing grab. Wow. I think that was Sarah Monshine or Mooney or Moonshine.
Mooney, absolutely.
Known by many teammates on Dragon Thrust or Belladonna.
Oh, great end zone patience here from Minnesota Strike. They're really taking as many throws as it takes to find that open receiver in the end zone. Oh, and they found it!
Spicy inside!
Great point from Sarah Moonshine there.
Looks like the throw came from, I believe, Baker.
I think it was.
Hawkins. I think it said 17.
Well, was it a different...
17.
I thought it was Johnson again. It looked like that same inside flick form that the first score was an inside flick from Johnson to Walby, and I thought it looked the same form as that. But maybe not. I'm not sure. They kind of went. Oh yeah, so we aren't going to see the replay of the actual score, but maybe we are.
There we go. There it is.
Okay, yeah, I thought that said 11.
I think you're right. I think that is correct. Rachel Johnson. It's a quick correction there on the throw coming from Johnson.
Yeah, the throwing form is like, someone's silhouette or something. It's very, it can be very telling, I think, at times. So I feel like I was keyed in on that inside flick form again, since that's what we saw the first strike score as.
Mm-hmm. Monshine with the catch on that one, finishing off a big play there after the kind of bidding grab towards the end zone to get that set up. Big
Yeah,
point
that
for
was
her.
definitely a great catch here. And now we're seeing, or there, great catch there. Now we're seeing Phoenix back on, oh gosh, not Phoenix. Seeing Radiance back on the offensive train here with their quick attacking movement. What a great D there by Strike. Good for them.
Really
That was
fun
huge. Yeah, much
Mhm.
needed. You know, they need that type of energy here if they're going to be able to make a bit of a comeback and, you know, really kind of get back on the horse and make this a close game. Unfortunate overthrow there from Strike. Let's see if they can get another D here to give themselves another opportunity.
Radiance again just slowly walked up to the disc, trying to slow the pace of the game back down to what they want to play, and not willing to take on that defensive pressure.
Some really nice grabs and throws from Claire Revere there. Getting, you know, I haven't seen her play too much so far this game, but she really made her mark on that point. She got the hockey assist for another Radiant score.
Earhart with the assist there to bring Raleigh up to 9. Very impressed with the way Radiance is moving that disc. Strike has some really good defense, staying really tight on them, but they're making space, moving the disc really nicely.
I'm excited to see what's going to happen on this next point with Minnesota gaining a lot of momentum the last 2 points and really just putting on a lot more defensive pressure.
I think Strike is starting to move a little bit more for sure.
Yes, I completely agree. They seem to be settling in a little bit and, you know, taking little steps there toward being able to rack up some more points. So, you know, everyone loves an underdog. So. All right, let's see what we've got here from Strike. Steph Rupp not able to get the center, but throws just a
beautiful flick hugs.
Yeah, beautiful flick hug. It's just unfortunate that she threw it against one of the best deep defenders in the world, Sarah Mextrot there.
Nice bid there from Radiance to save possession.
Yeah, they really do all those little things super well, don't they? They throw it on the right side of their receiver's shoulder. They lay out when they have to. They make sure the catch is all the way secured. They have great changes in direction. You know, these little things that Radiance is doing to just kind of get out to this big lead and keep it is impressive all around.
Keeping on that far sideline, moving it all the way up the field that way.
Oh.
I
love the goalkeeping move with the dish backwards, and then I'm going to go score. I'm going to stay in that space and score. Almost had that catch goal Radiance.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. That can be really effective. You know, typically in Ultimate, you maybe see it as a little bit more of like a greedy or a turn the page type of cut. Some people are familiar with those terms. And with that one, it was a little bit more subtle, but kind of the same concept. Like you said, Coffee, I'm going to go get this score.
Great movement there again from Minnesota, using the whole width of the field.
Yeah, they really are towing it sideline to sideline.
Oh, and great save there.
Save from Monshine.
And another beautiful flick hook.
Oh, and on the knees.
Looks like Courtney Walby there with the catch. Puts it out to space.
A little too far.
Oh, is there...
I feel like I'm in Courtney's head right now. I just know exactly what she's thinking, poor thing. Probably just wasn't quite what she wanted. I know she was on the edge of her seat seeing if that was going to be a connection, but like you said, just a little too far. Another big huck here from Radiance, we're really seeing both teams kind of air out the distance on their offense.
Didn't connect though, so Strike gets it back at well, they're walking it up. So I'm not actually quite sure where they have it, but looks like close to the 40-yard line. Nice grab to save that one by Monshine. Coming up with a lot of those.
Absolutely. Yeah, she's doing a really great job securing those catches. And another big one there from Johnson. Wow.
Minnesota is really picking up the pace of their offense here. Just a lot of quick throws into space.
Looks like Monshine with the throw there. I think that's to Byers. Really nice disc movement there in the end zone set. Lots of quick back and forth. They looked really calm and in control of that end of that point there.
Yeah, just some really beautiful end zone offense. That's what we've been needing from Strike, just patient, composed, making sure that, the throw is coming off exactly the way that it really showed it in that last one there. A couple of big catches to some nice, easy movement that was able to get them the score. It's great to see. Byers, I know, is a big threat in the air, and she's I think she's maybe only a first year on Dragon Thrust, or now being her second year, but she was just a first year when she made Strike, and I know they're looking forward to being able to utilize her impressive vertical and strengths in the air. So she kind of showed it off a little bit there. That defender was closing quickly, but she wasn't intimidated, and she was like, time for Strike to score. So correct me if I'm wrong, guys. I think it's now 9-3 Radiance.
I believe yes, you are correct.
Look at that. Do I control the scoreboard with my voice? It's 9-7. Dang.
Strike has the disc back now. Shira Klein with the D, and they're moving it up quite quickly. Looking, I think, to score again before the half. Little miscue there.
Probably a good thing that I'm not visually on camera because I'm reacting all over the place with Strike's little miscues like that. I'm just like, darn it.
Looks like Sims
Still
with the pressure
plenty of
there.
time. No? Yeah. Sim showing off that dynamic versatility as a defender. Yeah, we got a pick here. So, Coffee, does the clock stop for calls only in the last 2 minutes of each quarter, or does it always stop?
I should know this. I believe that the stop for all calls the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter, but I will verify that.
Okay, no worries. I really put you on the spot there. It looked like it stopped at 37, I think, when there was that pick call. So I thought maybe it did, but I could be wrong.
It may have just been a correction on the scoreboard. Either way, we are approaching the end of the half here.
Oh yeah, is Strike not going to take another shot? It looked like, maybe they called a timeout because there's 1 second left. But Strike, I know, I do know this part. The end of the first 3 quarters is just you finish out the possession. It's not a buzzer beater. So as long as you start the possession before time expires, you're guaranteed to be able to play that possession out until its outcome, either a score or a turnover.
It looks like Strike is going to be able to do here. As long as they keep possession of the disc, we'll have another chance to score to close out our first half.
Yeah, absolutely. So no matter what, that was Radiance's last opportunity. Just a miss, not able to connect on that deep throw. It's kind of an inside-out backhand to the deep space with, I think, maybe a flick mark. So it was kind of a difficult throw anyway. And yeah, just a little bit too far for the receiver. So let's see what Strike does here. Nice initiation to Byers, looking to get it off the line. But unfortunately, the D just is able to run in there and sneak across on that swing and takes away Strike's last opportunity for another score.
What are you seeing here, Claire, that would help Minnesota get some more points on the board and make this a closer game?
Yeah, so I think, we've both kind of touched on it a little bit. It's looking like their offense is just a little bit rushed and maybe taking some forced deep looks. So I would say if they can have a little bit more composure when the disc is in their hand and maybe take an extra second to consider looking off that deep look in favor of a more viable undercut, then that could help them be more effective offensively.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that's exactly what's been happening, and I think that I believe a Callahan Award winner is one of their coaches, and they have a strong coaching staff, and I trust that they will be able to guide Minnesota to make this a tighter game and have them feeling better about it.
Mm-hmm. I will say I'm particularly impressed with his defense, and I'm looking forward to the adjustments they make at halftime and coming back strong for the second half.
I'm already on the edge of my seat, so we're going to take a 10-minute break here for halftime, and we will see all of you faithful fans back for the second half after that. Yeah, that downtime really went quick. I can't imagine how the players are feeling. As an announcer, I thought it was fast, and I'm not even moving.
Another big throw there from Minnesota, all the way to the end zone for the scores. Score is now 9-4 Minnesota.
Flyers with a beautiful throw. Perfectly angled over the defender there.
That is exactly what Strike needed to start this half, right? They really needed to come out with a bang, and that was going to be how they set the tone, and I think that's a really huge deal for them. And hopefully, like I said, it sets them off for some second half success. Let's see if they can capitalize now. The offense can keep doing their part all they want, but it's really going to come down to the D lines here for Strike to be able to get back into a tighter position here in terms of the score, because they're going to have to keep playing D at least, more often than O if they want it to be close. Strike's got the pull there, and Radiance an easy center.
A great defensive switch downfield to number 14 on Minnesota. It's really playing well in that middle space.
Radiance with some really nice movement.
There have been absolutely some effective movement and effective switches. Looks like they got a little bit lost in the shuffle there. Maybe there were some open throws, but now they're back tight on person D. So let's see if they can stop them here in the end zone.
Looks like it's Sims on Earhart there. They would have been college teammates at Carleton, so that's a fun matchup to watch.
Oh, that's great insight, B. I didn't know that. Great to hear.
I played against them a few times.
There. Exactly. I love that. Yeah, I think that was Claire Revere there on this. In fact, it was Claire Revere on the assist. I think the score was Youngst, but let me see here. Nope, it looks like Youngst is not even rostered for this game. So -1 for me for being able to recognize people's gates.
That was Audrey Lehman with the grab there. So close, but not quite.
Yes, not quite at all. Yes, I think it's okay. Yeah, I don't have an excuse for why I thought that was Youngst, but it is. I think it is Lyman instead of Lehman, so at least there's some contribution that I can have.
My apologies there, Lyman. I'm looking at the roster and still.
It's no problem at all. I really just threw you under the bus there after my egregious error. So. All right, here we have, it looks like Radiance is not in person D. They are in a zone look. Looks like a cup that is forcing upfield throws, but no problem there for Johnson.
Really nice.
And then, yeah, a couple of great backhands, but then an unfortunate one that just kind of pops up over Monshine there. And the disc back in Raleigh's hand. Certainly not to take any credit away from Raleigh. I think they have tenacious defense, but it does seem like a lot of the Ds have been, or the turnovers have been relatively unforced on Strike's side.
I do agree with that.
A good switch from
There's
Strike's
Colton
defense.
again.
Colton again.
Colton.
Who could have guessed?
Really nice disc movement there, using the whole length of the field and finishing it off very nicely at the end of Colton.
Yeah, it seems like the end zone is really where Radiance is the most dangerous, small spaces where it seems like they attack the best, and Strike executed a great switch there defensively, but throw was just perfect enough that no matter how effective that switch was going to be, Colton was pretty much the only one that could get to that. So
That brings us to 11-4, Radiance over Strike. Strike receiving again, gonna try to get something going here, really push a comeback. Still got plenty of time in the third quarter here.
Oh, great grab there to save possession. I believe that's number 14. May have been 15.
we're all just out here trying, so no worries. Seeing Strike have some great movement, though. They're chunking up some great yards, nice and easy. Again, this composed offense is really what's going to be the most effective for them. Nothing too risky, nothing too crazy. Just take the open looks,
They're doing a really great job of that right now.
Oh.
Gosh, why is it right when we say it? I feel like it's like right when I say it, I'm like, darn.
I'm gonna try not to jinx them. I want to compliment them when they do well, but
Yeah, exactly. No, I don't believe in jinxing, so I'm perfectly at peace with my comments. Expecting a little laugh there from you two. It came off a little more serious than I anticipated.
Distracted reading.
I understand. Yeah, lots to keep track of here, but something that has been a consistent factor, certainly Radiance's O. Here we're seeing it again. It's really their D-line offense. Absolutely. Fantastic bid. That's the type of energy that we're going to need to see from Strike's D-line here. Actually, I think this is Strike's O-line again, but still. You see, Radiance's offense is, thriving on just a lot of open space. And as defense, it's hard to be like, okay, just cut down on their open space. It's kind of an outcome goal rather than a process goal. And so I do wonder what types of adjustments the Strike coaches are trying to make to minimize all that wide open space that it seems like Radiance is attacking so easily.
a nice strike cut there from Radiance for the score. Can't see that.
After a great, I think it was Jesse Jones again with the score, if I'm not mistaken, just because her red hair is fairly noticeable. That's what it looked like to me, but maybe we'll be able to see on this replay here. Yeah, the catch right beforehand was quite out of the receiver's box and then kind of had to fall over to secure it, but made that happen. And then, yeah, this is Jones going up a line here. Sometimes it's just like, what can you do to stop that? The defender probably could have been in a little bit better dump defensive position. But, after a long point and Radiance is still grinding, it's going to be hard to execute that footwork perfectly. So Jesse Jones just took advantage of that space, and sometimes there's not a ton you can do about it.
Radiance pulling again to Strike. Looking to move it again quickly.
Oh, big gain there from Strike. They're looking
Ooh.
deep again. Oh, and a great bid there from Minnesota.
Great
Couldn't
bid.
quite put in your possession.
It's a really nice look. The throw was put really just out of reach of Radiance anywhere. That was really great movement by Minnesota. They're getting a little creative with some of those throws. I like to see that.
And again, another good bid on defense there. It looks like maybe this
It
player
looks
might
like
be
there's
calling it.
injury in the backfield.
Yeah, that was a really high bid. That's, again, I've been commenting on it. That's the type of energy and spice that Strike is going to need, but that was impressively high. So maybe that athlete just came down wrong on, maybe got the wind knocked out of them or got a little bit of whiplash there. That's some of the risk you take when you're willing to put your body on the line like that, Again, Radiance's offense moving nice and easy here. Still looking like a beautiful evening to play Frisbee in Minneapolis. I know Radiance flew in, so they got in last night, and they've had plenty of time to adjust, maybe stretch out, get a good warm-up in, all of that stuff. And it is showing because they're playing really loose here. Nice, solid ultimate.
Nice grab. That looks like Mexstroth.
Oh, great defensive block there from Minnesota, number 19.
Yeah, kind of just two offenders in the space there, and then the defender was able to run onto that disc and get the block before anyone could secure the catch. So, again, much needed from Strike. Calling a timeout here to kind of reset. We might see a switch on personnel as well, as we've talked about teams can do in the PUL.
Really smart choice.
Absolutely. You gotta love the cerebral aspects of Ultimate, like things like this, things that are strategic. It's difficult to think straight, on some long points, and especially maybe when the score isn't quite where you'd want it to be, but that player had the wherewithal to make the right call for her team, and now it looks like we're getting Strike's O-line out here. See if they can capitalize on that block.
Yeah, we've been talking a lot about Raleigh and the Triangle Ultimate community in general, but let's talk about Twin Cities Ultimate here for just a moment. So they really offer a lot of playing opportunities for all individuals in Minneapolis, St. Paul, and the surrounding areas. They have lots of organized leagues, tournaments, clinics, other events. They partner with the local Ultimate organizations to promote the sport within the community. You can learn more at M as in Minnesota, N as in North, ultimate.org. Twin Cities Ultimate League is really putting a lot of investment into this community. And
these two teams are great examples of some really strong ultimate communities. That we have here. Minneapolis is a really great place.
Oh, great. Ultimate. Huge throw there. I think that was Courtney Walby with the throw.
Heck yeah, it was Courtney Walby with the throw.
That was a beauty. Massive hug. No one else anywhere near that disc.
I need the...
Absolutely.
Strike capitalizing.
Yeah, Strike really needed to land that one. Yeah, they haven't connected on a ton of their deep shots, so it's really nice to see that one working out so well for them. Courtney's Walby's distance on her throws is impressive from a standstill. She wasn't even in a power position there. She had just caught the disc, took a couple seconds, and then she was still able to launch it the length of the field just from a pivot, which is really impressive. I know it's a skill that I do not possess, so. Still wasn't able to see the receiver, unfortunately, but man, is that receiver fast, right, girls?
And
or something else that they deserve to be shouted out for.
No one else around that disc. She was the only one there.
Yeah, Coffee, I'm glad you talked about Minnesota Ultimate there because, again, both of these communities are incredibly impressive with their depth and their longevity, and their youth and all of that stuff. And yeah, we have been focusing on Triangle quite a bit, so it's nice to give that shout out to the home team too. Minneapolis, I know, has some of, at least I went to the University of Kansas, and the closest youth scene pretty much, there's a little bit in St. Louis, but some of the closest youth scene is from Minneapolis, and it's really great to get players to the University of Kansas that have played in high school before, and a lot of those come from Minneapolis, which is great to see. Yeah, just Twin Cities Ultimate in general, and like I said, their high school and youth development is very ingrained in their community, and it's great to see that because we want our sport to grow as much as possible, and both of these communities are doing their part in making that happen. They have really dedicated youth coaches, and they really build the grassroots ultimate from the ground up. So that's great to see.
The lineman with the grab there.
Got her name right this
Yep,
time.
got it right this time. I'm not gonna make that mistake again. Great movement from Radiance there. Add another one and make it 13-5.
Yeah, I know that this is Strike's first season in the PUL. They were supposed to have a season in 2020, but unfortunately that season was canceled for the entire PUL because of the COVID-19 pandemic. And then in 2021, Strike opted out of the season in favor of the safety and well-being of their players, which is a really admirable choice, albeit disappointing, I'm sure, to the program as a whole. I don't know quite as much about Radiance. Do you all know if Radiance played in 2021 or if they have maybe a little bit of time together on the field?
I believe I'm certain they played in the championship because the 2021 season was built a little bit differently. Another great throw there from Walby.
This time to Byers. Put perfectly.
Yeah, so the
Walby was showing her arsenal of throws there. She's had a big flick huck, and then that was kind of a nice bendy backhand, so it's good to see what she has all in her repertoire. Sorry, Coffee, go ahead.
No, it's okay. I was just going to say the 2021 season was built a little bit differently. Coming back from the pandemic, the league really tried to prioritize getting players out on the field, and having weekly games just wasn't quite feasible at that time. So there were, I believe, 3 championship weekends. There's the Midwest, one for each division, Midwest, East, and I believe there's an international weekend as well. And I believe... I'm going to verify, but I believe
Radiance won their championship. But yeah, I think so.
Confirmed. Raleigh Radiance did win the PUL East Division Championship weekend in 2021. It looks like they were founded in 2018 by leadership from Phoenix. Imagine that. The North Carolina Women's Club Ultimate Team and the AUDL Flyers. Sounds like they have a good partnership there with the men's team, the men's AUDL professional team.
Yes. Okay, gotcha. That's all good to know. So you said they were founded in 2018. I thought the PUL inaugural season was in 2020. Is that? Oh, I think no. Maybe it was in 2019.
Yes, and Radiance was one of the founding members, joining the league in the inaugural season. Looks like they placed
gotcha.
second.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and
so they've got a lot under their belt.
Absolutely, they've also already clinched their bid to the PUL Championship weekend here in 2 weeks, I believe, June 18th and 19th in Columbus, Ohio. So we'll look to see them again in a couple weeks. See if they can bring home another title.
Awesome. Good for Radiance. That's an impressive resume for the last few years. So, Strike maybe, having a little bit of an experience detriment, that could be contributing to part of what's going on here. If Radiance already has 3 seasons, essentially, with two and then the current one under their belt, and this is Strike's first one, that could be playing into this game a little bit, you might think. Oh, another big gorgeous throw here. Oh my gosh, it just couldn't hold on to it.
Wow. Couldn't quite hang on. Such a great grab there, my number 10 in Minnesota. Like Jane Cook.
Wow. Yeah, Cook. Yeah, we were We were talking about, the communities for a while there, so we've been missing some of the play-by-play here, but there was a turnover early from Radiance on a bid that barely fell out of the receiver's hand, and then some nice movement here from Strike and a beautiful deep look, but yeah, Cook unfortunately not able just to quite rein that one in. I mean, what an attempt, though. That was truly impressive. Her feet were in. She just couldn't quite secure it all the way, and great attempt. Now we're seeing Radiance back on the offensive, and looks like a foul.
Got a little tangled up there. I think that's Earhart. Looks to be okay, though. Always good to see. Starting it back up again.
Yeah, those types of contacts, certainly happen pretty often. Sometimes a defender trips a offender, and then they just call fouls. Almost always uncontested, and just restart play.
Radiance really utilizing those strike cuts effectively. You can see it there.
Absolutely.
Small space, like you were talking about earlier, they're just lots of playing mini and being able to get the disc moving in those small spaces, and we really saw that there with their end zone movement.
Definitely, yeah. I hate to say it, but it does look like Strike is maybe a little bit more on their heels defensively. Some of those uplines were pretty casual, pretty easy, and I would say general rule of thumb defensively is probably, especially in the end zone, your primary option to take away is going to be that upline cut. So if I were a defender on Strike, I would put my body in the upline space, physically put my body in the upline space, so that if the offender wanted to go upline, they would have to go through me. And I'd give myself a good amount of cushion as well to be able to react as that offender is looking for the upline cut. Give myself time to react and ensure that I am prioritizing getting to that space first, and forcing the offense to do something different. Throw it around, throw a break, step around their mark, or something that's not quite as easy as an upline.
Yeah, totally agree. Looks like we are approaching the end of the third quarter here. Just a reminder to our viewers that when the clock reaches 0 for the third quarter, the team that's in possession will just finish that possession, whether that's resulting in a score or a turnover. It's just the end of that possession. So with Raleigh I'm not sure if Raleigh needed to pick up the disc before that.
I believe they called a timeout. So I think also in the PUL, if I'm not mistaken, please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, you can call a timeout without picking up the disc. So I think that maybe the coaches can call a timeout, like, in basketball from the sideline. And I think maybe that's what happened, because it certainly doesn't look like these teams are coming together for the end of the quarter. It looks like they're planning on playing one more possession.
I do believe you're correct, Claire, that if the disc is in the air, you can call a timeout, and the time will go back to when you called that timeout.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, another huge advantage according to USAU rules, and in club ultimate or college ultimate or any other division, the disc has to be physically in a player's hand, and a player has to make a T with the disc. We've all heard that phrase before. And that signals a timeout. But in the PUL, again, some of these nuances are a little bit different. So like we said, a coach, or, if the disc is in the air or whatever, can call that timeout and ensure that they get another possession before time expires.
Smart move there by the coach.
Yeah, I love good coaching in ultimate. I just feel like it's still relatively new. There's not a plethora of amazing ultimate coaches out there, and so it's just great to see opportunities for it. Oh, wow, look at that.
Flyers have been amazing to end the third quarter. That's got to be a good amount of energy coming from that for Strike. It's a really great way for them to end that quarter. Stop Radiance. They're getting a little bit of momentum there, getting pretty close to the end zone. She made some really great closing speed and got that run through D there.
Absolutely. That was really great to see. And again, the type of defensive energy that Minnesota is going to need to continue to show if they're going to come back a little bit here in this fourth quarter. Byers got just enough of her fingers on that disc to make sure that Revere was not able to quite secure it fully. So good for her.
Yeah. Byers is a very talented ultimate player. Also, apparently, very good at cropping shirts. I don't know quite what my definition of good is, but apparently, I believe that she would do a very good job on that as well. She crops shirts as well as she plays ultimate. I'm sure it's very, very well.
It's a little hard to mess up cropping shirts, unless you just cut it all off.
I'm not a very crafty person, though, so I can admit that I probably wouldn't do a very good job. So I'll make sure to call her if I ever need that.
There you go. I respect it, V. That's a good call. Yes. Yeah, a lot of multi-talented athletes in ultimate. It's kind of awesome to see. I think one of the best parts about our sport is just how to again, we've been talking about the youth scenes of these two cities a lot, but that is not particularly common to have a really well-developed youth scene. So a lot of people don't find the sport until college or even later maybe. And what that allows for, that I think is really cool, is people have already developed other hobbies and talents throughout the first 18 or 19 years of their life. So ultimate players tend to be really well-rounded, in terms of what their occupation is or what their hobbies are, what their weird craft, capabilities are or anything like that. I think that's one of the coolest things about our community is just like the breadth of talent that exists among ultimate players.
Yeah, talking about other talents, I believe Sarah Monshine, we've been seeing a lot of great plays from her today on the Frisbee field, but she actually also walked on to play soccer for UW-Madison and then won the Big Ten championship that year. So college soccer player right there.
Shut up.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
Made the switch to ultimate
Wow.
later in her college career. Has obviously excelled there as well. So much talent.
Man, that is incredibly impressive. Yeah, I know a lot of people do that though. One of my teammates in college played 4 years of college softball and then came to grad school at KU and played ultimate for 5 years after that. I know people have done track first or, yeah, soccer or any of that. There's a lot of easily translatable skills from other sports that lead to incredible offense like that from Radiance there. That was Claire Revere with a beautiful flick huck into space for her teammate. I didn't quite catch the number of, but just no fear here, no hesitation. Revere doesn't even have a mark for the first couple of stalls, so she's able to have a nice open throw. Her receiver has steps, and Revere honestly just tails that disc right over the defender anyway. That even if she didn't have steps, it would have been difficult for the defender to make a play because Revere just put exactly the right edge on that disc to ensure that her teammate was the only one that was going to get to it. Yeah, Radiant's really not letting their foot off the gas at all, are they? They're still going at it every point, defensively, offensively, in every way.
Yeah, a strong proponent that excellence is a habit, and if you like play differently depending on whatever the score is or whatever is happening in the game. I think that Raleigh really exudes excellence in that way, that they are always playing to score as many points as possible and play their best.
Absolutely. It's great mindset and habit to get into, like you mentioned. It's just, it also shows respect for your opponent. Everybody wants your best game at all times.
And there's a pick called upfield.
Yeah, I saw quite a few collisions going on there. It seemed like maybe some unsure who was supposed to be in that space. So
Monshine with the disc for strike.
Whoa, what a throw
really
there.
Nice throw.
Another good. Followed by a deep puck. Oh, and over the top.
Wow! What a roof. Oh my gosh. I can't deny that was very impressive.
Caleb Blahnik with a massive sky there. Really getting up. That's got to give Strike some energy. That's a good series of throws there.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was a true cookie jar sky. You don't see those too often, especially against Sarah Mextroth, who's one, like I said earlier, one of the most impressive deep players in the game. And yeah, she even had position here, which is what is so impressive about the Strike receiver. It looks like they both got a bit of height, and Mextroth got a good jump off of it, but it looks like hold on here.
Caleb
Looks
Blahnik.
like I was almost there.
Came down with that one.
It looks like
athletic player.
Yeah, Blahnik just went up strong and absolutely just dipped her hand in that cookie jar and took that right out of Sarah Mextroth's space. That was a really impressive grab.
She's also 6 feet tall. And I guess she grew that extra inch pretty recently to put her at that. So she's very, very proud of that, reaching a life goal. So it looks like it helped her out a little bit there too. Was able to use that height effectively and come down with that disc.
Gotcha. Wow, another great bid from Cook. She's a really dynamic athletic player. Claire Revere giving a nice step out to that upline throw. Or it was just an undercut, but it was into the upline space, and then an upline to the handler here, and a pick call.
Raleigh swinging it across the field. Really getting
some nice lateral movement.
Mm-hmm. Another pick called. Do you think both of these teams run a vert stack? And that is something that you can run into when you run that offense. If your spacing isn't quite big enough, got a lot of people in that same space run into each other.
Absolutely, V. I completely agree.
Looks like that score from Radiance was Lyman to Meisner, not mistaken.
Look at you go. Is that the first one we've gotten right off the bat? Assist to score without a lapse in time?
I think that is the fastest we've seen one of those so far, especially for Radiance. But it only took us until the fourth quarter. But as we promised, we did figure it out.
Exactly, right? I called bank early on, so that counts. Do you guys get the called bank reference? Is that you with me?
I'm so sorry, Claire. I started reading your. This is the second time we've done that to you.
It's quite all right. Called bank is not. It's a little obscure. It doesn't quite apply. But when you call bank, like when you're shooting a basketball, and then if it hits the backboard and goes in, you're like, oh well, I called bank, so that's allowed, and it's not a bad shot. That's what we set ourselves up for that too, because I said in the first quarter we're going to get better, and we did, even though it's still not very good. We called bank, so it's better. Oh gosh!
I do appreciate the full explanation there, Claire. I think it really adds to the atmosphere. Oh goodness!
Oh man!
And with that, Strike getting started upfield again, really moving the disc.
Absolutely.
Quickly.
Yeah, they make some good yards, initially, like we've talked about.
I was talking to a friend last night about what do you think the most important statistics are in Ultimate, and something that he brought up to me that I hadn't even considered is how many times someone throws, or how many gains of 20 yards or more do you have in a possession. And I think that's something that we could really look at and would show some interesting results in Ultimate when applied. So Claire, what do you think of some of the most important stats are?
Yeah, that's really fascinating, Coffee. Just real quick before I give my take on it, is that as a cutter, how many 20-yard plus throws you gain, or is it as a thrower, how many 20-yard plus throws you throw?
The completion. So
okay.
It's not as an individual stat, but as a whole team stat. How many times does the team move the disc 20 yards or more?
Noted. Okay, gotcha. Awesome. Yeah, I think some of the most important stats are definitely some of those more nuanced ones. I've always thought of them from an individual perspective of just like, if you're regularly gaining a lot of yards, but maybe none of them are 20 plus, you're still going to have a yardage number that is, in the hundreds or the thousands over a season, just depending on if it's PUL or club or however long the season is. And I think that really shows the prowess of a cutter. If they're regularly getting
hand block there from Radiance.
Not to interrupt you.
No, that's okay. No.
It's like going backwards and gained 5 yards on it too.
Absolutely. I didn't even know what happened there. So that was good. We needed to comment on that. Absolutely. So, and another
quick off of that.
Radiance score, yeah.
Really strike cuts effectively. I don't know how many of their scores have been from those little kind of handler motions and fake backfield and go for that strike cut, but they've really been using that to their advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. And even to either side too, sometimes it's an upline to the strong side and sometimes it's to the break side, and it seems like they're getting both off just as easily. Like their arsenal of throws is so deep that they can pretty much get any throw off that they've been wanting, especially in that end zone space. Yeah, I'll just round out my thought. I was pretty much done anyway. But yeah, I think just as a cutter, it's really impressive to see how many yards are gained over a season, or even just over a game. Maybe it's only in 5 possessions and you have 100 yards, and then you're getting those 20 plus ones, or maybe it's in 30 possessions and you have 100 yards or something like that. And either way, it's, if you were to order the stats from most yardage gained top to bottom or something, you could see who's really effective at getting the disc consistently. And I think that would be a big tool to try to utilize that receiver a lot, the one with the highest yardage gains over the course of a game. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, pretty much the most common, stats, I'm sure everyone knows, even our viewers and everything, points, assists, Ds, and turnovers are the 4 most common stats that are kept. Some people separate turnovers into throwaways and drops. And then outside of that, you can get a lot more nuanced with it. The iUltimate app tallies a ton of statistical information that can be really beneficial for a lot of teams. So,
yes, Android users don't know what that is.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I didn't realize it was an iOS app only. So here we see Radiance again, though, just working it down the field nicely, and pretty casual huck from Jesse Jones to Sarah Mexstroth. It's wide open in that deep space, as we're used to seeing her in. And now they're back in their end zones.
Oh.
What's that, Coffee?
I was just going to say that possession for them started with a nice D.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, it looks like maybe a timeout call by Radiance coach. Looks like the players downfield took a moment for them to understand what was going on, but I believe a coach called a timeout there.
Yeah, that's certainly what it seems like. They obviously weren't expecting it, but happy to adjust, just send the disc back to when the timeout was called, and then the coach can get in there and make adjustments as needed, personnel or strategic. Yeah, so one thing I'd like to shout out is if you've ever been thinking about or wondering how these two teams got so fast, particularly Strike, they are using Strive and Uplift commonly, which is a virtual program to help athletes, particularly ultimate athletes, perform their best while reducing injury risk. If you want to reach the next level, sports-specific movements and smart use of your energy systems is the way to go. So check out striveanduplift.com to learn more about the kind of virtual membership that's right for you. I myself am a Strive and Uplift member. It's an off-season training program that I've been using for a couple of years, and it's really great. It's ultimate specific, it combines running and lifting. They have gym-free movement, they have gym movement, they have core and agility, and just a whole plethora of exercises and workouts. That's really, really helpful for any ultimate player.
Absolutely agree. It's a great program.
Strike is making Radiance really hard here on this end zone, but they are able to convert anyway.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, Strike with a decent defensive hold there. You know, they made them throw a lot of throws. A lot of times at the elite level, you know, you kind of pride yourself defensively, maybe on not getting a block or, you know, not preventing them from scoring, because those are really hard, again, outcome goals. If you want to focus on process goals, a lot of times it's more like, did we take them out of their first look? Did we make them throw a lot of throws? Those are smaller versions of wins that defensive teams can be proud of themselves for. And I think, you know, in a lot of the scores by Radiance, you know, Strike has done that. They, you know, they haven't all been super, super easy. You know, Strike has had a good end zone hold and made Radiance complete 10 plus throws in the end zone. And fact of the matter is they are completing those throws, you know, so maybe it doesn't look like Strike is doing their part, but I think to a more keen eye, some defensive tactics that they're utilizing are working, you know, relatively well.
It's a great perspective there, Claire. Yeah, so just as
go ahead.
A rules note here as we approach the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter. Just a time rule. The clock will stop after goals and only restart when the PUL is caught, touched, or tapped into play from an out-of-bounds area. Anytime there's like any kind of stoppage, whether that's in a call or out-of-bounds turnover, the clock will stop during these last 2 minutes for all of those calls. Now, that's not the case for the rest of the game, but these final 2 minutes will have those stoppages.
Awesome. Good to know, Coffee. Thanks for that reminder. Byers here in a little bit of a tough spot, looking to Walby. Walby able to get open in a lot of really small spaces. That's one of her best offensive assets. It's her really quick foot turnover that allows her to get open in just a couple of steps. She doesn't need a big cut. So she was able to get Byers out of that tricky situation there. And then, again, another unfortunate turn for Strike here. See if they can ratchet up that tight defense, as we've been giving them some credit for. Make this score difficult on Radiance. So far, Radiance working it up nicely. A little OI flick to the IO side there. Not always the most conventional, but successful nonetheless. And then, yeah, beautiful backhand there. Absolutely.
A really nice grab there, too, on a difficult catch.
Wow, how is that pick? Yeah, that should definitely be upheld. It looked like Rep was ready to take that call back, but I'm glad that her teammates have, you know, kind of had her back on that, made sure that that call gets called, because that was certainly a pick. Kept her from getting a mark on.
Jones starting out with the disc on the tap-in for Radiance. Getting it back. Really commanding the field well.
Audrey Lyman to just by gate, I'm guessing that's Jenny Way.
Yeah, it looks like Jenny Way. That's what I would say, too.
Look at us go, twice in the fourth quarter.
Bam.
Is that what you were
As promised, you heard it here first.
Is that our bank shot? Did we do it again?
Yes, that is our bank shot, girl. You got it.
Great. Glad we made that call back. See, I was listening to you the second time.
Yeah, there we go. We're getting our rat-tat-tat. Yeah, it's just like Radiance is just like, all right, whatever, we'll just do it on the other cone then. Like they just are, uh, having their way with it on some of these points. But time together really builds mixed two of my words there, defensive cohesion, and I think that is certainly playing to Strike's fault here a little bit. It's just, you need time to get to know how your teammates like to switch, how your teammates like to mark, and what areas you need to take away as a downfield defender, and how people like to engage in end zone defense and things like that. That's just, yeah, making it a little bit tougher on them, I think, than maybe a more veteran team, so to speak. Gosh, just little miscues like that are so tough to watch. The handler there started to cut upfield right as the thrower threw it to where she was as opposed to where she was going. And so just a little bit off like that leads to it coming off, oh, it's a little bit behind the receiver, and then it leads to a drop.
Things like that.
It's
As
looking like
Strike
they're
has more.
having.
That's Tyler Smith there with the assist to number.
Looks like McStrath.
Strath, of course it is.
Dynamic duo there.
No doubt. Yeah, there's like we've been saying, kind of only so much you can do in certain scenarios. Mextroth is a World's Games player this year, which is the top 14 players in the country, 7 of male matching and 7 of female matching. And so if you make, top 7 of your matching gender, you're pretty good. So yeah, so Mextroth is undeniably pretty good. Sometimes that can be tough to stop.
Don't think anyone can argue with that one. With you on that one, Claire.
Absolutely. Yeah, defender just got caught a little bit on her heels on that point. I don't think she was quite ready for Mextroth to make that scoring cut, and so Mextroth was able to get a quick one there on her.
I see a question in the chat there if there's a person on site keeping stats. And yes, I believe there is a person on site. However, B and I are located in Nebraska currently, and Claire is in Kansas City. So no, we're unfortunately not able to see those stats at this time. But we look forward to potentially seeing them on the PUL. I think it might be on the website. I'm not certain on that. But we're not able to see
they
them
could
right
be
now.
accessible for sure. Yeah, if one of the stats were inside out flick yardage gains, I think Rachel Johnson would be crushing in that arena. She's another zone buster there, straight through the middle of the field. Strike able to work it up nicely here. Again, some nice lateral side-to-side movement with some big underneath gainers.
Rachel Johnson just every other on those. They broke through that zone look there up to Byers. Really nice disc movement
Absolutely.
to break through that zone in the middle of the field, yeah.
They keep possession here in the red zone.
Oh, a big jump from Byers, but just not quite enough to get up to it. You really see that athleticism in that jump there, but just a little bit out of reach.
Absolutely. I am not sure Welby had a mark on there. Maybe could have taken another second or so to either put the right edge on that disc or just ensure that that was the look that she wanted to take. And now we're going to get to see Radiance attack here for the last possession, right?
Our clock might be different than what is on the game field currently.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, my
approaching the end.
apologies on that.
Yeah, but we might see a big throw here at the end as the clock reaches 0. And players have stopped. I wonder if
Looks like that is, yeah, I mean, I know the fourth quarter is a buzzer beater, so, we just had the end of the game there show up, it looks like. And yeah, we've already talked a little bit, just about what's up next for these teams. They both had a great fight here. Radiance coming out on top, but certainly nothing that Strike should be ashamed of. They gave them a really tough fight and took them out of their initial set plays, did a lot of things well. So we expect to see, as Coffee said, Radiance in the playoffs in 2 weeks. And I know this is the last home game for Strike. I think they're still in the running for the playoffs. We need to wait until all of that is tallied up before we know their next steps.
Absolutely. And on behalf of the entire Minnesota Strike organization, we thank you all so much for tuning in with us today and this season. As Claire brought up, we look forward to seeing you and hopefully see you for the PUL Championship Weekend. That is June 18th and 19th in Obetz, Ohio. I think tickets are on sale currently if you want to go there in person. And then there's also, of course, we'll have all of the championship games will be live streamed. And I believe during the stream today, a couple times you've seen a pop-ups with the link to donate to the Premier Ultimate League. If you are not able to attend a game in person, it's a great idea to donate the cost of a ticket if you're tuning into the live stream. This is a service that a lot of Ultimate players really enjoys, the live stream, and it's free. However, we would really appreciate if you donated the cost of a ticket on that link there.
Absolutely. Once again, I'm Claire France, and I'm here with my friends Vanessa B. Villasenor and Amanda Coffee Borders. And we thank all of you so much for watching this Strike versus Radiance game with the Premier Ultimate League. So we hope to see you all watching again for that playoff weekend that Coffee mentioned. Take care.
We did miss. I don't know if we said the final score.
Whoops.